So at this point, I don't feel like it's any secret that one of my favorite aspects to college football is recruiting. It's something we talk about here on the channel consistently, and today we're keeping with that theme because the class of 2024 is providing us so many intriguing battles to look at, but one such battle we've got to keep our eye on is set to come to a head this week. As four-star quarterback out the state of Texas, Michael Hawkins is set to make his collegiate decision on the 8th, and this is something we have got to break down. Before we can, as always, y'all know the drill, I have got to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Do you believe Michael Hawkins commits to Oklahoma? And let me know what you're thinking. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification as I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it, and if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and comment down below. Those interactions seem small, but they are massive to content creators such as myself, and we're on a push to 20,000 subscribers. I'd love to have you a part of this unbelievable community, but having said all that, let's jump right into this. And before we can really start breaking down this battle, we have to first ask and answer the question, who is Michael Hawkins? Well, Michael Hawkins is one of the most talented prospects in the class of 2024, and anytime I say this, you know what follows. The class of 2024 is a class full of dudes, and Hawkins comes in at number 311, the number 19 quarterback, and the number 53 player in the state of Texas, and furthermore, he plays in a really competitive league in the state of Texas. We talk about this at length. Anytime you can get guys that play in high school leagues that you look at, and there are several guys out of that league or even on that team that are going to be going and playing college football, you feel like the guy you just got is battle tested. Not only is he battle tested in practice, he's receiving great coaching, he's receiving great nutritional strength and conditioning at these bigger Texas high schools, but whenever he goes out on Friday nights, his level of competition, it's right there. He's playing against guys that will be suiting up on Saturdays, and you love to see that. Anytime you have the opportunity to go into a major high school, and it doesn't have to be in the state of Texas. We talk about this with Mater Dei and the Trinity League. We talk about this with IMG. Those institutions, there's just a level of competition they face that makes those prospects intriguing, and Michael Hawkins certainly fits the bill. Now, this has been a really fun recruiting battle to keep up with. And for those of you that didn't catch the live stream yesterday, we actually talked about this a little bit, and today's kind of going to be a preview of that, because I made a prediction on yesterday's live stream as to where Michael Hawkins will go, and there is no inside information here. One of my favorite things about recruiting is sitting back and trying to read the tea leaves, and you're going to be wrong a lot, but when you're right, it's a ton of fun. And I sat back during the live stream and asked both Drew and PG if my assessment was fair. I predicted Michael Hawkins will commit to Oklahoma, and I have three primary reasons why I believe that's the case. First and foremost, he's a legacy. His father played with the Oklahoma Sooners, and that's not a guarantee. We've heard these fathers that played college football talk time and time again, and it doesn't have to be college football, that played sports in college talk time and time again. They want their sons to go and find their own path. However, I don't think those ideologies are mutually exclusive. I think Michael Hawkins could go to Oklahoma and still carve out his own career separate from that of his father. But it's still something you love to hear. But I do believe Michael Hawkins being a legacy guarantees him one thing, a familiarity with that institution that's going to stretch back a long time. And one thing we talk about and one thing we all must acknowledge, recruiting is built on relationships, and having that familiarity is only going to increase the opportunity and the chances that you have positive relationships with that school. I think it's very obvious that Michael Hawkins has positive relationships at OU. One thing we hear about this coaching staff time and time again is that they're generating and cultivating really positive relationships, something you absolutely love. But I do think that's a compelling thing, that his father played for Oklahoma, that Oklahoma has been a consistent theme in his recruiting, and now Oklahoma has offered his younger brother, something you need to keep an eye on. Secondly, something that I found interesting was that Michael Hawkins is set to commit on the 8th, and that is coming up really rapidly. Now, whenever you know that these guys are about to commit, one thing you'll always hear is follow the visits. Where was the last place that guy visited? Because that's an institution you need to keep your eye on. Well, luckily for the Oklahoma Sooners, Michael Hawkins commits on the 8th, and the weekend before he's committing, he's in Norman, Oklahoma, touring the campus with his brother. I think that says something. I think if you are Oklahoma, you have to like where that puts you in this recruiting battle, because you're getting the last word. You're getting an opportunity to have him come into your room, pitch right before he commits. And even if he goes to TCU for a day visit because he's from North Texas, TCU is a hop, skip, and a jump away, you still have to love that you got him for the weekend if you're Oklahoma. And I think The reason we always say follow the visits is because it rings true more often than not, and I think this is going to be a case of follow the visits. And finally, the last reason why I said during the live stream I think Michael Hawkins goes to Oklahoma, it's because right as we kicked off yesterday's live stream, I noticed when I went to 247sports.com that a crystal ball had been inserted in favor of TCU for a different quarterback in the class of 2024. Now, make no mistake, I'm not saying that automatically disqualifies TCU from being able to win the Michael Hawkins saga. Maybe they're going to take 2 quarterbacks. Maybe that's their plan, and we've certainly seen colleges take 2 quarterbacks before. I did, however, find it intriguing whenever we look at the totality of circumstances. The fact that Michael Hawkins is a legacy. The fact that Oklahoma has been a consistent theme in his recruiting process. The fact that a week before he's supposed to commit, he's visiting Norman, Oklahoma with his family. And a week before he's supposed to commit, TCU gets a crystal ball inserted in their favor for a different quarterback. Now, like I said, no inside information, but if we look at the totality of circumstances and we try and read the tea leaves, it seems to me like TCU is gearing up to try and start recruiting a separate quarterback in the event they lose the Michael Hawkins battle. And with him just touring Oklahoma, it feels to me like the Oklahoma Sooners are in a fantastic position. And before we get out of here, we need to talk about why this battle is going to be so important for Oklahoma. Because even though you want your quarterback in every single class, something we talk about all the time, if you can help it, you want to get a top quarterback every single year, especially with the existence of the transfer portal, because someone can get hurt, someone can transfer out, and you want to maintain quarterback depth that you have faith in. But outside of that, one, I think quarterbacks help your recruiting class tremendously in terms of those guys going out and recruiting for your class. And finally, the last point I'll make before we get out of here kind of bleeds back into that second point about quarterbacks being great recruiters, because there's a guy in the class of 2025 that is really high on OU and really high on Hawkins. Devon Mitchell, the 5-star tight end. And if Hawkins commits to Oklahoma, it's going to be really interesting to see what Mitchell's next move will be. But I can't wait to hear from all of you. Hop down to the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. That's it. See you.